What's up, you guys? Kamal here. Many people are asking me how I started real estate. The thing is, I was actually sending students to the United States before coming myself here. Most people who I was sending here, they were having a hard time getting the real estate for themselves, the housing for themselves. And sometimes they will give me a call asking, hey, could you help us out? We're having a hard time getting a real estate, getting housing, because they don't have social security numbers and no one could run a background check on that. That's how I tapped into the student housing. While especially after COVID, I had a hard time. I had to sell business. People who bought the business, they returned it to me. Basically, they were also not able to manage it. So we decided to diversify the way of the income. I started to do corporate rentals. I started to do short-term rentals. I started to do vacation rentals. Started to rent into insurance housing companies. Started to rent traveling nurses, construction companies. And we ended up basically building a corporate housing company. I don't rely on the properties like that are mentioned only for vacation rentals. There's a YouTuber, Ashley Church. There was like a crazy wave, especially after COVID, PPP loans and everything, when the people got just free money and started to buy properties all over the place, especially in the Palm Springs area in California. Lots of people bought overpriced properties, started to put it on Airbnb, and were under impression that they will be making money. But that's not the case. I mean, you can still make money on Airbnb, but relying only on Airbnb and buying a property thinking that, hey, I'll make money doing Airbnb on that property is just stupid.
The economy, supply and demand, interest rates, it's a completely different ballgame. In certain circumstances, Airbnb can still be a good investment long term, but I do think for most people, it just doesn't make sense anymore.
Not to say the least, but it's just another platform for advertising. But what if people would, let's say there's an economical crisis, people are trying to cut their spending, so one of the first things that they will be trying to cut the spendings on would be travel. You have a property that you have a monthly payment of about $3,000 a month, and then you have no one booking your place. So what happens, you will have to either sell the property or just pay the money and lose the money on that property. That's exactly what happened to Ashley. Another mistake she made, I think, she bought a very bad loan, which was adjustable loan, and her price basically she pays. But she made a video about losing money on the property that she bought for Airbnb, and I think she mentioned something like $3,000, $4,000 a month, which is crazy for the property. That first of all, she bought it overpriced. I think the property she bought was around $1,800. Real cost of that property, I think, so it should be like around $400,000, $500,000 max. And second, she got a bad loan. And third, even when doing Airbnb, it's not like, okay, you set up the property, you find a cleaner, and that's it. You have to have someone who would be messaging with guests, doing maintenance, checking out the cleaners after they clean the property, because they're cleaners, they get paid for the cleaning. It's not like they will carry on every each of things. Sure, everything works in a property. For instance, we had a property that I did rent for other person, and there was a constant problems with the pool. There are actually constant problems with the pool, and it's like one of the biggest headaches I ever encountered. So basically, it's not as passive as it seems to be. That's one of the reasons why I don't rely on Airbnb. I probably will do a separate video on that, but basically this is what we do. So now most of the time what I do is I go to the landlords, say you're a real estate investor, say you have like a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom house, standard house somewhere in Orange County, you will probably rent it for around $3,000, $4,000. I go and tell you that I can make about $7,000 from that property. How do I make it? For instance, I have a house in Santa Ana. There's a construction company that brought their employees from Texas. Now you might ask why people bring employees from the Texas. That will be a really good question, and I'll answer it because it's a cheaper labor than hiring people here in California. California has the highest wages, which is another topic, and I will probably do another video on why high wages hurt employees first, and then business owners, and then overall everyone. That's what happens when you have high wages. People have to carry their employees from other states, and people like me just rent a place to them, make about 2-3 times of the rent, whatever that house would make on that market. If you have a real estate investment, you want to make more, hit me up in your messages. My pages are linked here down below. Or if you're interested in purchasing property or just shopping, just need an advice, make sure to follow my link. You feel free to ask me any questions, guys.
If you are a real estate nerd like myself, you probably get lots of those advertisings, multifamily gurus, you know, saying that, yeah, don't buy a single family house, go for multifamily. But the thing is, if you're an ordinary guy like myself, you probably won't have multifamily money, especially if you're in the markets like California, the coastal markets that are crazy. There's actually a trick that you can do. You could go for the duplexes. I mean, single family is risky for a reason. It's really hard to scale. And then if you have even a single family house as an investment, you only have a chance to put the one tenant there, unless you're doing student housing or some, you know, room rentals, which is really a hassle, honestly. Instead, you could buy a house with ADU or casita. What it is just another house on the same lot. So basically, it's two houses. Most of the time, they're priced the same as an ordinary single family. And then you have two houses to rent out. You guys would have two sources of income already. And it will be much easier to deal with because it's not like a bunch of houses, properties. It's awesome for starters. That's how I personally prefer to work. Or you can buy a fixer-upper that has a garage and convert that garage to ADU. This way you will have a cheaper price most of the time. Still you will have two units. Of course, it's a little hassle and you have to be prepared to do that. But most of the time, if you're doing a fixer, unless you don't have to do new plumbing and stuff, it's not that much of a work as opposed to if you would be doing only a fixer. Generally speaking, I would say be prepared to have about at least 50k in cash if you're going to do it on your own, and 90k in cash if you will outsource the project to someone else. This is just my pure estimates, not exact numbers, but probably you guys are understanding where I'm coming from. And another thing is the permitting is much easier as if you would be doing any kind of other construction, because you're an owner builder, and basically what happens, you just need to buy some plans from any architect. Probably will cost somewhere around 5 to 10k. I would go and shop and probably would get them done a lot cheaper. Also, another option is to have them done by someone out of state, but they would have to be familiar with California or whichever state you are, with the regulation of that state. And you just get a cheaper blueprints, and then even I've seen people hiring employees out of state because it's just cheaper labor. That's how you get to compete with big guys when starting in real estate. If you guys like my videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep hustling.